Welcome to Pixel Composer 1.21 stable. So this marks the first stable release of this year. It's been a while since the last one, about like 5 months. So if you are currently on the stable branch 1.20.0.9, I think, you're gonna be welcome with a bunch of new features, a bunch of new change. Your project probably breaks. But in this video, I will only cover the feature added since the last video, the 1.20.9 beta. I think the last stable is 1.20.0.10 actually. That's a bit confusing, but this video will only cover the new content since the last video basically. I will compile all the new features in the last stable into text form, and the link will be in the description. But in this video, we only cover the new thing. So let's get to it. First, we have MP4 importer node. Pixel Composer can now read MP4 video, right, and then play it as animation like this. Now, I don't want to give a false impression that Pixel Composer can now edit video. I wouldn't go that far. It's not really optimized for like long video editing. Then we have a number of new generators. We have the Hilbert pattern. So this is like a space filling curve. As you increase or change the iteration here, you're gonna see that it repeats the same pattern, fractal-like, and then start filling the space. Then we have the wave interference. So this is another pattern generator that allows you to create a wave interference pattern, right? The output here is how two waves interact with each other. Then we have the with noise. So this is used to simulate like an erosion pattern. So you have to provide some kind of height map to it first, and then you're gonna add some erosion detail based on the gradient of the height map. Then for the filter node, we have barrel distortion. This will be similar to the dilation node or the dilate node, right? And you can see here, if I move the center here, the dilate node will like bulge out. But the barrel distortion here, if you use different equation, the output will be a little bit different. There's no range control. There are intensity control. But the output here is really different, especially when you set the intensity to be less than 1. And then we have the LUT or the LUT node, the lookup table, which allows you to import the cube file and then apply it on the surface. Like in this case, I think it's a free cube file that I get from Shutterstock or something. One word of warning is that the cube file is actually quite slow to load. So when you start loading the project with LUT node, there's going to be some loading bar while it is reading the file. Then we have improvement on the already existed node. For example, stuff like the stripe node, checker node, the node that have 2 colors or 2 inputs. You will see this swap icon. It's just a small button used to swap color. The blend node as well, you can swap the background and the foreground with one click. The composite node also got improvement. Like when you try to rearrange the input or rearrange the order here, it will also recalculate the depth value. This wing also got improvement. There's new custom metrics, so you can define metrics directly to control like the dither patterns. There's an option to invert the dither pattern as well. There's a color type just for like the RGB space or the HSV space. You can define a fixed step for each of the color channels. Then the path node also got a number of tools like the polygon tool that allow you to draw different polygonal shapes. The tunnels got new scope properties, so you can now have the tunnel limited to inside the group itself, which allow you to put tunnel inside the groups and then duplicate the groups without having the tunnels interfere with each other. The inline groups also got improvement. It is now easier for you to manage inline group. You can double click on the group and then dragging the group without having to select all the node inside. You can also delete it with the delete key. There's also a new setting that will change the shape of the inline group so that instead of using the polygonal shape like that, it's just gonna use basic rectangle, which can be easier to work with. And there's a bunch of new improvement. The full list will be in the description. Then we have improvement on user interface. You may already notice this. The background of the graph panel and the preview panel is a little bit darker to improve the contrast of the content. For the inspector panels, they are now filtered to only show animated values. So you click on it, you will see all the other values disappear. Only the value with animation will show up, make it easier for you to work with a larger animation. You can now also set default value for every single property in the software. Here, the icon here says set default, right? Clicking on it, you're just gonna set that value to default. So when you do create new node, it will come with that default value set. As you can see here, the value that got the default override will have this different color. You can then right click and then click on reset default to remove that. And this change in the default value can have impact to your project, because in the past when you save the project file, it will only save the edited value, right? It will only save the change value, and it's just gonna assume that other value will just use the default one. The problem here is now you can change the default value, so your project may work differently on different device or different time. So when you try to load project on the older version, it will have this new project migration dialog that will show you the highlight different properties that could have impact when we have different default values. The biggest problem is with unit. This is the old Castle project. It looks completely different, and with this migration error, you can click on it. It will highlight a property that could be changed. Now, many of these properties will not have any problems because the default value are the same. You can just click done, and it's just gonna disappear. As you can see here, if it says 0.5, it's probably a fractional unit, right? You don't have to do anything about it. So just ignore it to say done. This one is done. But for some value like this one, you can say that it says 24, but it's fractional unit. And the output are completely messed up. It's probably because the units are incorrect. You can now hold shift key while clicking on the unit icon to change the unit without changing the values. Because by default, if I switch the unit without holding shift, you will see that it will change the value, right? It will apply the unit change so that the output look the same. But in this case, this is not what we want. So you hold shift and then click. It will keep the same values, but only change the unit. And now you can see when I change the unit, it got fixed, so we can just press done. This one is kind of the same. We might want to change this too, but it's already 0, so 0 pixel, 0 fractional unit with the same value, so we can just ignore it. Position here is correct, right? And you can just go through all the property here to see if there's some mistake. Like this, the padding value here is set to fractional even though it should be pixel, because the padding here is just really way too large, right? So let's just hold shift and then click. As you can see, it got fixed. The image is reasonable again, and go through all of them. And done. As you can see here, after I go through all the checkbox, our project is now recovered. And once you save this project in the newer version, it will not show up again because it's just gonna save every single value from now on. Then we have a number of new getting started project to showcase different parts of the software, like the particle system, smoke simulation, object simulation. Because there are more getting started project now, I move it to its own tab so that I can categorize it properly. So when you open the splash screen, you're gonna see more tabs, right? For getting started, for welcome file, and for Steam Workshop if you are on Steam version. Now with the newer version, especially with newer stable, there are chances that your project gonna break or you want to roll back to the older version. This is not a new feature, but if you click on the version number here, they're going to be in the download tabs that you can download the older version of the software, right? However, if sometime the project or the software completely breaks, so you cannot open the software at all, you will not be able to access this page. So in the installation file, you will see a standalone dedicated Pixel Composer downloader. It's a standalone software, standalone program that will just show this screen for you, so you can download any older version of the software. And as usual, we have a number of bug fixes showing on the screen right now. And because this is a stable release, the bug fix to here will be longer than usual. I hope that it's gonna be stable, but if the past told me anything, is that the stable release is never stable, right? So expect a number of patches coming in the next week or month, because I want to make sure that the stable is as stable as possible before I move on to the next beta and I start breaking things again. And lastly, I want to address the problem that people have with the last video when I talk about Patreon only notes, right? Because it can be seen as unfair by gatekeeping some feature to like the Patreon supporter or subscriber only. So I removed the Patreon requirement for all of the Patreon supporter node now. All of these nodes are now available for every user. So it's a different like a texture generator, right? And including the NKY frame that I introduced in the last one as well. Yeah, but that will be it for today's video. As usual, thank you everyone for watching. A special thanks for all the Patreon supporter, and see you in the next one.